Hi, my name is Dr. Akilah Willery, and welcome to the Melanated Midlife Podcast, where Black midlifers share stories of how to live your boldest life after turning 50. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Melanated Midlife Podcast, where we are talking about all women stuff today. I mean, good women stuff. But I am here with a wellness expert, all the things really, but she has passionately shifted her expertise towards women's health. And Dr. Katashia, you are here to be that person to guide us out of the cave and shine a spotlight on all the things that we need to educate ourselves about taking care and being intentional about where we're going with our health. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes. And let me also say when I'm being intentional of saying that you are the founder of the Dr. Katashia Wellness Kollective with a K.
That is correct.
Okay. See, hey, I'm do my girl right because you go to the website or you gonna pull up something wrong, but make sure that we link the actual website in the show notes. But she has taken time out of a very busy schedule to just come and sit down and talk with us. And goodness, I sat here before we started rolling or recording, and you shared enough right then where I'm like, oh, this is a whole class. This is everything we need to know. But this is not your main gig because you're a clinical pharmacist.
That is correct.
I mean, that's bad already. I mean, go on, girl.
Yeah, busy life, but I totally enjoy what I do when it comes to the Wellness Collective and educating women about their bodies, and especially from periods to perimenopause. So that lights me up every time.
Periods to perimenopause. I hear the when I hear periods, that you were correcting me right then. Say, hey, some women don't even know the length of their periods. And you said, oh, no, your period is not just when you're menstruating.
Right.
It is the entire monthly cycle. And that alone, we don't talk about that. I mean, it's simple math for me to be able to keep up with my own health numbers. And not enough people are asking that question, what's your blood pressure? What's your weight? What's your this? Well, how's your menstrual cycle? I don't know.
Right. And I get that a lot when it comes to just education, even speaking with my friends. Like, how long is your cycle? Just having a girl chat after work on the phone. We're like, about 5 or 6 days. I'm like, no. How long is your cycle? And I believe for me, it started back when I had issues. I got my period when I was 10. So I was a kid.
Yeah, you were a little girl.
I was a kid in 5th grade.
Dealing with that
and trying to understand my body at the time. And growing up in the 80s, and everything was a secret when it came to speaking with my mom or my grandmothers or aunts. Not to say they were gatekeeping the information. It was just that it was a conversation that we never had. And my goal now is to break the door down to be able to talk about it. Say the word period. It's not a bad word. And I truly believe now, looking back at that little girl, I would love to tell her so many things. Now, especially what I know when it comes to educating my nieces, my cousins, and just people now in the Wellness Collective. It's important.
Yeah. When women are coming to you, I mean, first of all, you deal with the full spectrum. So, of course, I'm very selfishly only hyper-focused on menopause right now because this has been my life for the last 5 years. It has been very unkind. I will say menopause is so disrespectful. I mean,
disrespectful.
Very disrespectful. She just is this chick that won't leave the group chat. Yeah. I need you to go somewhere today so I can concentrate on work kind of thing. But you don't just deal with women that are in that phase. You're talking the full spectrum.
Full spectrum. And even now with me, I'm right behind you. I'm in perimenopause. I'm there. And I look back over the transitions because these are phases of our womanhood. We're going to start with, our periods from fertility, having children, up to peri, and then menopause. But now looking at my life and being in perimenopause, I remember the day, September 16th, 2024. I had my first hot flash. I was sitting in I remember the day. I cooked dinner.
Hot flash birthday.
And literally, because my birthday was the week before.
Oh my gosh.
September 3rd, September 16th. And I turned the oven off, sat down, and my husband's like, oh, let's go outside to eat on the back porch. And I'm like, okay. But I was like, I'm hungry. I started eating, and I felt this heat come up my legs and through my body. I'm like, did I turn the oven off? I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. And I just fell into this sweat. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then after that, the fan, I bought so many fans. The air at night went down to 65. And so I told my husband maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks after that, I said, I think I'm going through perimenopause. He said, you think? Something's going on up in here.
He had already figured it out. You were slow to the
I
realization.
was late to the party. So he was like, you got to do something about this because you're about to freeze me to death. But it was just that revelation, like September 16th, I remember when it happened. And I turned 47, and I was like, what in the world is going on? But I knew the day was coming, right? I was looking forward to the day, but I didn't know how it was going to actually introduce itself.
Right.
And I guess, like you said, she was kind of disrespectful because I was about to eat. But I realized, okay, this is it. This is where we are. And now I look at it as, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Because I'm in another phase. A little bit about my story before I even get into perimenopause. I suffered from fibroids my entire life. I live with stage 3 endometriosis, and I didn't know really what to do. So from my, go ahead.
And let me pause there for a second because there are men watching this as well that will hear terminology like that and bless them. They want to understand.
They do want to know.
But they hear the big words and they may not understand the human experience that goes along with a big, ugly, scary word like endometriosis. So take a moment to explain to those people what that feels like.
So I would start with fibroids, benign tumors found in our uterus and on the outside, to keep it simple. And the same thing with endometriosis. It is in tissue-like, uterine-like tissue, because it's not similar to the tissue in our uterus, but it starts to grow on the outside of our uterus. Tissue that's like it, but very similar. And with that, it can also cause those tissues to grow in different places. It can go from your uterus to your up to your intestines, up to your chest and your lungs, and it can even been found in the brain.
Wow.
And those things, if you think about Spider-Man, I always think where those different webs, those different webs go, that literally can grab on your intestines and just go there and just grow in all these different adhesions throughout your body. And it can cause, constipation, so much pain. So that's what endo is. And I call it endo for short. And you have different stages. I have stage 3. The high stage is 4. So dealing with that. But I was diagnosed later on in life. So it allowed me to understand why my periods were so heavy and really bad. Heavy bleeding, the pain, the anemia, all of that through my lifespan until I was officially diagnosed with fibroids in 2002. And the only reason I was diagnosed then, I was in pharmacy school at Xavier University College of Pharmacy. And I was there and I called home to my mom and said, something is not right. And
you knew your body.
I knew my body, but also I knew something was off. And the reason why I knew it was off was because I've always worn 3 pads. That was normal because that's what my mom said, oh, you just have heavy periods. Just make sure you double up. I've always lived with an overnight bag in my car. I had extra clothes in my backpack because I just never knew if I was going to have an accident. And in pharmacy school, I had an exam. And at that exam, if most women, you have that blood clot that just won't fall, you just like, please fall. But I lived so far from the school, there was no need for me to drive back home. So I stayed at school all day until 5 o'clock until it was time for that exam. And of course, the blood clot decided to fall as soon as I got my exam. And when it fell, I looked down and it was a mess in my seat and on my clothes.
At the worst possible moment.
At the worst time, I've already doubled up because I'm prepared, but it was this. And I was at school all day waiting, kind of fight, like, please fall. But it fell right at that time. And when I looked down, there was nothing I can really do at this point. Finished the exam.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm sitting there. Finished the exam, and plus I didn't want to get up then because I knew if I would have got up in the middle of the exam, it was in my seat. I just couldn't move. So, but now I'm done with the exam, and I'm waiting for everyone to leave so I can run out the back door. And this one student would not move. I'm like, will you please hurry up? And
get out of here.
By the time the exam ended, the professor was walking to me. It was like, it's time for your paper. I wanted her to take it so I could run out the back door.
Yeah.
Ran home, ran to my car, drove home. I had cloth seats, messed up my truck. And that's when I called home and told my mom what was going on. I'm like, something is off. And that fall, after the fall semester, I went home, had a doctor's appointment. That's when she told me that I had fibroids. I was diagnosed and that I needed surgery. And at that point, I'm like, oh, great, have surgery and everything will be fixed. Had surgery the next summer. So I kind of suffered through all of that through the next summer. I was done. I was happy. I'm fixed, right? And then time goes on. We never had a conversation about if fibroids grow back or, I was done, fixed, and I moved on with my life.
You were patched up and sent on your way.
Patched up and went on my way. No conversation. And honestly, I didn't know. And this was in 2002.
So this was not the dark ages.
No, did not know. And then 10 years later, I moved to Texas. A lot of things happened since then. I've gone to the doctor, but no issues. Everything's fine. My period's back to normal. And 2012, I started to notice the symptoms again. And now I'm dating. I met this guy, and we're talking about marriage. We're talking about having children. But I was telling him, something's off. I need to go back to the doctor because these symptoms I'm having reminded me of something that happened, 10 years ago.
Right.
And that's when he was like, sure, went to the doctor. The doctor said, oh, you have fibroids. I'm like, no, I don't, because I had this already.
Yeah.
And he's looking at, well, what do you mean you had it already? You get fibroids can grow back. I'm like, this is not a conversation I had 10 years ago. So at this point, he's telling me all of this. And if you're looking to get married, if you don't want to have children, he explained a lot of information at the time, but I felt rushed because he said, okay, we got to do this. We got to do IVF because you might maybe get pregnant. I'm like, slow down. That's how fast he was talking to me.
Yeah.
And
sounds like it was very nonchalant.
But he said it was urgent. But remember, those symptoms were back, and I knew I needed to do something because quality of life was not.
Yeah.
It was just a mess because I'm still living out of a bag, doubling up, doing all these things to protect myself, hurting at work, cramping's bad, all these things. And I decided to have another surgery. After my second surgery, that's when I was diagnosed with endometriosis. So I'm thinking now, yes, I had fibroids 10 years ago, but I also had endo. But research shows that it takes about 10 years to really get an official diagnosis for endometriosis. So that's about right. So here I am now. I'm living with fibroids and stage 3 endo. Now I'm thinking what to do next.
And I'm hearing what you're saying. Number one, it's incredible. I'm still at that pharmacy exam moment. And I'm like, girl, I got all kind of anxiety from an exam period, but you're having to concentrate in this moment that all of this is happening. Right. And this is not a one-time event. No. This reoccurred for you over and over again, and you continue to suffer, basically. And you, at the time, a pharmacy student, but now since you're a medical professional, and even you had to push and advocate like something ain't right. I don't know the name. I don't know what, but something ain't right.
Something's not right.
And you had to continue with your quality of life diminished in order to just get somebody to listen.
To get someone to listen, and we're so used to just kind of pushing through.
Yeah. I
think, that's one of the things, it's like when we just push through, we're going to keep it moving. And that's what I did until my third surgery. In between that's when fibroids are back. Now I'm looking at, are we going to be able to have children? Because the guy I was dating, now we're married. And
hey, he stuck in there.
Yeah, he stuck around.
All that girly stuff.
He stuck around. And the funny thing now, when I look back, he's one of those male advocates in the space with me now.
Cool.
But to be able to learn about fibroids and endometriosis and how to really be there for your partner, he's amazing, for sure. Great. And now to look back, I'm like, okay, what do we do? They're talking about IVF. And of course we tried to get pregnant at the time. I'm like, let's do it. But every time a part of me died, every month I got my cycle. because I wasn't able to get pregnant. I'm going back to the doctor. We're doing all the testing. They're telling me my tubes are, they're smashed from the fibroids and different things. So it's like IVF was the option.
Right.
And from there, we decided to move forward with that, to have another surgery. And I was passing out, fainting, because now I'm anemic. So now I got to go, before even having another surgery, I needed to start doing iron infusions.
Gotcha.
Because that's how low, that's why I'm fainting and my hair is falling out. And my iron infusions was at the Sugar Land Cancer Center. And
that was a head trip, I'm sure.
Because I'm there, because the iron infusions, they take hours.
Yeah.
And there are patients in there getting their chemo, and they're like, what kind of cancer do you have? And then my heart would break, because I'm like, oh, I just have fibroids and endo, I'm here for iron. But they were like, you just don't have something. You're here because you need it. So those conversations, I learned a lot from those patients. But then I'm thinking to myself, what's next, God? Here I am. I feel like I'm doing everything right. What's next? Then we move on. I decided to have the third surgery. And my doctor told me it's a possibility that you may have a hysterectomy, because it's only so much your uterus can take.
Wow.
And with that, now I'm advocating, I'm talking a little bit more. Now I know more, because I'm a pharmacist. I know more, I can ask more questions and understand what's going on and be able to, and my doctor, this last doctor I had, she looked like me. I love her. I changed doctor many times. Now I always tell people, if you don't like your doctor, change. If something's not right, change, because they work for you. So I end up getting this really great doctor. She actually helps women going through cancer to preserve their uterus so they can have children after.
Wow.
So I end up having an appointment with her, went into surgery, and 2016, that's when I had it, February 2016. And ultimately, I had a hysterectomy. Gotcha. Never been pregnant. And I was devastated. Didn't know what was next, because at this point, it's like my husband and I, we talked about having children. And now I can't give him what we talked about. And I told him, I gave him the door. That was his out. He could leave, because I'm not able to give you the children. Because that was our dream, to have children together. And he was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I just kind of lost myself. I was mad. I was angry with God. I'm like, God, I can't believe you did this. So I stopped going to church. I stopped praying. I was like, it is what it is.
Wow.
I was in a really bad place.
Yeah.
That went on for about a year.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Right.
Just kind of, I was in the hole for a minute. But my husband was still there. He was right by my side, even though I was so mean to him. Because I was trying to get him to leave, because he can be able to go on and move on and have kids with someone else, but he stuck it out. And one day I was sitting in my office, and I heard this voice that said, go to church tomorrow. I'm like, I heard it like clear as day. I'm like,
yeah.
Kept moving, doing what I was doing, and I heard it again. But it was really, I was convicted. And I said, and Joseph was upstairs. I said, hey, Joe, let's go to church tomorrow. And he was like, okay.
But he didn't question it.
He didn't question it.
Yeah.
And it was a Saturday. This was a Saturday, and I heard this. The next day, we went to church. And I go to Willow Avenue. And that in the summer, the interns would come in and do their sermons. And this intern, Tamla Wilson, did her first sermon, and it was on Hannah, and she spoke on her infertility journey. I was bawling in the congregation, because I felt like she saw me. Her story was my story. She understood me, and I needed to get to her.
Yeah.
And she mentioned after her sermon that she was starting a support group at the church called The Waiting Room. And I knew I needed to be a part of that, because my friends, my mom, my aunts, no one understood me and what I was going through.
Yeah.
And the waiting room saved my life. My husband says it all the time, because, and now, years later, I'm a coordinator in the waiting room now, because that's how much I believed in the support group.
Oh, my gosh.
I would go, I'd go to the support group and I still wouldn't talk though. I was still that angry because I couldn't understand what was going on. But God allowed me to open my heart, my mind, and I was listening, but I still wasn't able to articulate what I needed to say until months later. And after I shared my story, I felt a release and I cried. And that's when my relationship was better in my house with my husband, as well as with, my relationship with God. And I knew what I learned through that process, I had to give back to the other women behind me. So I started sharing my story more and more and more. Therapy was the missing piece in my life at that time. So I got a therapist dealing with grief because I lost something.
You did, yeah.
And that changed my life. And that's when I got into, all the things that I learned, I got to learn more to be able to help women going through the different phases of womanhood, from periods to perimenopause. I'm like, this has to be it.
Yeah.
But the main thing I wanted to know is like, Lord, how do I relax? Because I was still had this high anxiety. I still didn't know what to do from there. And that's where sound therapy meditation came in for me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because that's how we connected.
How we ended up talking.
Because I was like, whoa, that's dope. I need to hear about this. But there were so many other layers to your story. So I'm very grateful for you sharing that because there's so much that is there that, number one, could break anybody. And not only did it not break you, but you used that as the inspiration. It feels, I don't know if that's the right word, but it was what motivated you to now help other women.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking of that moment where you're at home, you hear that voice that says, go to church. And
the next day.
Yeah, different conversation for another time, but somebody saying that you have gifts that are to be given away. Your gifts are not for you to keep.
Right.
And so you had some gifts that were waiting. There were women, whole families that were waiting to hear your message, to get your expertise. And I mean, the pain you had to go to get to that point, but then to hear that voice and obey that voice in that moment is incredible.
Right.
Ooh, girl. So with all of that, I mean, this wasn't that long ago because I'm listening, I'm doing the mental math. And so you've now been in this field of just integrative health, which, by the way, it feels like it's a growing field within the Black community in particular. Are you seeing a shift in how we're seeing it?
I think because we're all open. I think COVID did that too because a lot of people say, I'm not taking that, I'm not doing that. What else can I do? And I believe that's how, when we think about integrative health, that's integrating different modalities of healing. So yes, we have the conventional medicine. That's what we know about, going to the hospital. And I must say, yes, being holistic doesn't mean I don't believe in medications because if I'm hit by a bus, please take me to Benton.
Yeah.
That's where I used to work. I'm like, take me there. But on days for preventative measures, then yes, I want to do the things that I need to do to prevent that. So if you have high blood pressure, what are you doing to prevent or help get yourself off blood pressure medicine? So I believe by integrating different modalities when it comes to sound therapy, meditation, Eastern medicine, acupuncture, there's different ways to heal outside of the traditional way we know here in America.
So for you, I mean, being in the middle of this, somebody comes to you with whatever, and I could use myself as an example. I will show up, Dr. Katashia, I am dealing with some severe mood swings. I'm not sleeping. I really just want to calm myself down because I am on 10 on a lot of days when I just And then you're going to look past all that and say, wait. I'm not going to give you a pill for each of those things. Let's talk about all of it.
Let's really get to the foundation. As a pharmacist, I can't diagnose, right? But as a clinical pharmacist in the hospital setting, I do prescribe. I have a scope where I'm able to. But in my practice, my virtual practice, I don't prescribe. So I must say that. But if you come to me, I'm always going to get to the basics, the foundations. I'm going to look at your diet, exercise, stress, toxins. So the different things from foods when it comes to toxins and how you deal with that in your house as well as outside. We look at strategic supplementation and sleep. So those are things that we gonna always talk about from baseline. And a lot of times I realize that we're not doing baseline.
Yeah.
Because I'll ask clients, so how much water do you drink? Oh, I don't drink water.
Yeah.
What?
Doesn't that shock you when you hear this?
Now it doesn't.
Oh.
Or, do you move your body? And I'm not saying to go out and run a marathon. Do you walk? Because walking is underrated. I love walking. A lot of times just moving your body, going outside and move. When it comes to relaxation, and that's where sound therapy came in for me. Someone invited me to my first sound bath because they knew I wasn't able to relax. I was high anxiety, a lot of things going on, especially through my infertility. Went to my first sound bath, and that was the first time I slept in a very long time, getting some really good sleep. And I knew I wanted to learn more about that. So I always ask women, so what do you do for yourself? Do you unplug? Like we talked about earlier, are you on the phone before you go to bed, on your phone before you go to bed at night? So I always try to teach basics first. Let's get into basics. And once we get through that and master that, now let's look into gut health.
Oh, the gut health, I get it, because you mentioned, the first example about, are you drinking your water, and I realized, at least for me personally, because I went to somebody once upon a time, I was like, chronic constipation, I'm dealing with this, And that was one of the first questions about how much water are you drinking? I was like, at the time, I was very lofty about it. Drink it when I'm thirsty. Now, I finally made a connection with my hydration, the way things were flushing or not flushing, the way that, So that one tweak, like you say, we might be dismissive about it, and it made all the difference.
It makes a difference.
Instead of me going to somebody, which the initial conversation with someone else, this was at a doctor's appointment, they were all ready to do all the interventions. And even I was like, this feels like we're going on level 10, and I'm talking level 3 right now. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like a right fit intervention. So I'm, going back and just doing the everyday natural things. I'm like,
basics.
That made the difference. Ooh.
I had a client now. I have a client now. She started with me, went through all the onboarding information, and I was kind of skeptical if she was really going to follow through, but I took her on as a client. And her issue, constipation, because we went through all the basics. Now we made it to good health. And we had our follow-up appointment just this week, and she was super excited on the phone to see me. And we went to our virtual appointment. I'm like, what's going on? She was like, and a little background about her, she just couldn't poop. She couldn't understand why. Maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks she'll go to the restroom.
Once a week, I can relate to that.
And just starting her on what I needed to start her on to get moving, she was like, I have gone to the bathroom every day since starting. And twice on certain days. She said, I haven't done this in years.
See.
And so it's like, she said, starting with the basics and kind of going through this program she's doing with me. It's like, my thing is, I'm not doing anything special.
Yeah.
It's really just that accountability and making sure my clients are doing the basics until we move on from gut health. Then we get to, okay, now let's work on, are you here for fertility? We deal with what we need to deal with for fertility coaching. Like you mentioned yourself, when it comes to menopause or perimenopause, same thing. So let's start there. So let's work on what we need to work on. Right. So it's just those forks in the road that I deal with my clients. And I always tell them, as long as you're committed and dedicated to the process, because nothing happens overnight. I've lost over 100 pounds. It wasn't overnight.
Go, girl.
It was, hard work and discipline.
Yes.
So, and I know what for me, I'm thinking, I grew up in Tennessee. Everything was deep fried. We fried everything, and my dad fried everything. But I don't eat like that anymore. But the thing is, if I can do it, honestly, anybody can.
I love, number one, congratulations, because I'm in my own struggle with weight loss right now. So I'm hoping that this time next year, you'll be able to say, girl, you look good. But I ain't there yet. It's a journey. But let me go back to something with talking about, your shift into this integrative health space. Do you, as a medical professional, are you sometimes at war with how you want to approach things? Because when I hear, I'm familiar with integrative health, just selfishly trying to educate myself with other alternative ways to optimize things. And it's almost like there's two teams in this space, and I'm an outsider. Let me disclaimer: I don't know jack. So, but I do hear there's two different schools of thought, and you're in both of those.
I have one foot in traditional and another foot over in holistic wellness, and I must say, conflicted, yes, because now I do take some of those opportunities when I talk to my patients in the hospital to say, okay, what are you doing actually? And start having those same questions I'm asking my clients, I'll ask my patients. And a lot of times I realize that that's where they are.
Yeah.
You know, I meet you where you are, and I realize some of them, they're good where they are. I can mention the different things they can start doing, or you can stop, you know, let's work on doing this. Because I'll never tell you to stop doing something. Let's reduce it. Let's try to, you know, do a little bit less of it. And if you tell me, no, I'm not interested, I just give me my pill, then that's where we are.
Yeah.
But I noticed too, people who are interested in integrating other healing modalities in their life, they're open. Their mind is open, their heart is open, so they're more committed to the process and understanding how it can work outside of one. I can come off my medication, it's a possibility. If you do X, Y, and Z, let's work on that. But a lot of times I try to integrate some of the things I know from my holistic space with my patients, but I may have some that say, great, I can try doing that, and that's fine. But I enjoy pharmacy. I enjoy what I've learned. I love learning every day with that. But I also understand now, because I was one of those people, I must say that I was like, no, pills, that's it. I went to pharmacy school and I know what I learned.
Yes.
Right? But now I must say, no, that's not necessarily the case, because there's a lot of things we don't learn in school. And integrative health, holistically, we didn't learn nothing about that.
Yeah.
I learned this on my own through other certifications that I have obtained. And so when I look back over my pharmacy education, it was great, but I also realized that there's learning outside of what traditional schools are teaching me. And that's when I went back to learn more, to be able to help people. I feel like I'm a unicorn. I can help you on both sides of this coin. I guess I understand holistic wellness, but I also understand traditional medicine.
Oh, I'm very grateful that you're in both of those schools of health. But I want to specifically talk about the sound bath healing, because I need to learn more, because in seeing it, it just looks cool. I'll be real. I don't know what it's doing for me, but I'm seeing it, and I see the state of other people in the room. And I've never participated in a session, so I'm coming for you. But I see other people just kind of go to a special place. And so what are we receiving? What is happening in a session?
So sound therapy meditation. So it's a type of meditation. So sound bath, you see different instruments, you see all these things, but a sound bath or sound therapy meditation, type of meditation using sound. It's musically guided through different instruments, such as the crystal singing bowls. We have chimes, we have xylophones, different instruments, drums, ocean drums, to help you to relax. It actually takes our brain waves from the alpha, beta to theta, which is really just helping you to relax, bring in that sense of calmness over your body. If you ever think about elevator music, people say elevator music, you're sitting there, it kind of relaxes you some, right? Or there's different tones that you can listen to that helps you just kind of go to the sunken place and help you to relax. You know, for me at work, we have a humidifier in our office. Just that white noise alone just relaxes me. So if you think about sound therapy, that's what it's doing. It's helping you to relax. It's giving you that one intentional moment in time to relax. And the benefits can come from helping you to improve your sleep. Even helps to help you lower your blood pressure, because now you're lowering cortisol. There's stress hormones to help you to relax. I mean, the benefits is just there to help you to reduce that stress in your life. That's important. That's what I needed in my life at the time.
That's huge.
So, and that space could be at a sound bath that I perform. I want you to be comfortable. Bring your yoga mat. Wear something comfortable. Have your pillow. Even have some cover, because you know I'm gonna have it cold in there.
I'm there.
And the thing is, it's for you to relax. So usually the session starts with maybe some deep breathing, because breathing has been shown to help just bring you back to a grounded state, right? So you relax, do some deep breathing together. From there, we may even journal. I love journaling.
I do too.
Journaling for me has been, it's a game changer too, especially during my infertility phase. And I journal everything. I love journaling, and that's one of the things I do try to incorporate into my sessions. Like, what are your intentions today?
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why do you want to experience a sound bath? And some people say, you know what, I'm just tired. I want to, get some sleep. And if you go to sleep at one of my sessions, great. That's a compliment to me. I mean, don't snore if you can't help it. You don't want to mess with the other people. But that's a compliment because you have 45 minutes to an hour to unplug. I ask you to turn your phone off. And a lot of times that journaling is a brain dump for you. So for instance, if you come and say, you know what, I have to do this with my husband, I got a podcast to record, got all these, I got to do this, I got to do that. Brain dump that into your journaling session. So now you've put it there, leave it there for 1 hour and have this moment for yourself.
That's it. You mentioned the journaling, and if I don't get certain thoughts out,
go ahead.
They will go. But that is exactly the experience when I do that. It truly is a brain dump, and I have to get it out of my head, get those racing thoughts to stop, and I put it on paper, whatever it is. I'm feeling not so great today because or anxious about this upcoming thing. So if I feel the release with just that simple act, but if I layer it in with the sound bath therapy, I can only imagine what I'm going to feel like when I walk out of there.
Right. A lot of times you'll hear people say, I feel lighter.
Yeah.
Most people leave there, I'm going home and go to bed.
Yeah.
And my goal is for you to relax. Now, it's not a one-off. I would love to have my clients to continue to come back to a sound bath. That's why I do private sessions. So I do have clients where I go to their homes and be able to do it in their homes. I've done, girls' nights or bridal showers or mommy's day. I do that for them to be able to relax. And so those are my repeat clients because I go to them. But I also want to be able to bring the sessions to the public. I mean, you will see many sound therapists out there doing sound baths. You see floating sound baths in the pools and different things. But my goal is to really to get it out there because I know it helped me.
Yeah.
Yes, I got certified as a sound healer. I still do my trainings over in California with my mentor. My goal is to bring sound therapy meditation to other people. My goal is to help you to relax, to have that time for yourself. I've even had people come to me like, is that a guide? Why are you doing that? Bringing in, negative thoughts. But my thing is my intentions are to help you to relax. My goal is to have you to incorporate sound therapy as a part of your self-care routine.
Yeah, and self-care does not necessarily mean expensive lotions.
Or going to the spa. And it does.
Right.
You can go to the spa. But literally, this is just intentional self-care where you're actually unplugging down on your phone to give yourself a moment to relax. And a lot of times we don't.
Okay, because I'm connecting that, the self-care, the awareness of what's going on with your body.
Right.
How does this, or can it lead to our longevity?
It's just making sure you're putting yourself first, right?
Yeah.
When you think about longevity, stress will kill you.
Yes,
right?
It will. Yeah.
So just imagine if you're doing this. This is something I do every week in my house. My husband is a part of it. This is something we do for
He probably feels like, you feeling stressful today, babe? I could use one of those.
And honestly, he's probably asleep before I hit the first note. I can tell you now, it takes him no time to go to sleep.
Right.
But this is something, I want to live a long life. One of the things, we even had to be transparent, a conversation. My husband was like, I want to lose weight. I want to do all these things. And so he knows that, losing weight is a part of his wellness plan, but also about reducing stress. Right?
Yeah.
And to see me and how it changed me, he wants to be a part of it. So I believe that self-care, a lot of times you hear people like, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, sociable, that's fine. But what are you doing to reduce your stress? Because that's really important to me. Because even at work, people say, what do you do at work? I have my Oura ring. It lets you know how stressed I am throughout the day. And I'm usually stressed in the middle of the day. But I also have my speakers that gives the sound bath that I need throughout my day. It lasts for 8 minutes. And I just need 8 minutes in the middle of my day to be able to take me back to that steady state of being grounded, to be able to conquer the rest of my day. So this is something I do on not just a daily basis. This is a part of my lifestyle. This is important to me. And that's what I really want to get people to see that reducing stress, that's number one. because there's so many things that can happen. Stress can, sit here in your gut. You think about gut health, mental health, all those things. Stress can do it. And this is one way that I try to help people to relax through sound therapy meditation.
I love that because it goes so well with you hear the younger folks, and I'm saying younger because I am one of the elders now. I will claim it. I'm all right with it. But I look at the younger generation, the 20-somethings, and the terminology, soft girl era. And at one point when I first heard it, it was just so ridiculous. I was like, oh, they're just lazy or whatever. And I have completely changed my mind about that because this soft girl era, we could learn a lot because now I cringe when I hear the strong black woman stereotype. And I think of all the reasons why we had to be the strong black woman, all of the things that we had to survive just to exist. And so when I hear the younger girls say, oh, I'm in my soft girl era, I'm like, you go, do your thing.
That's great because I didn't learn boundaries until my 40s.
Yeah.
40s. I didn't learn boundaries until then. And the things that I know now, I'm happy that they're doing it because it took me 47 years to figure that out.
And you're better off for it, And now you get to coach people through how do you take care of yourself and be soft and be kind.
And that era can last way longer than just a year. It can be, like you said, longevity. It can be for the rest of your life. This is something I'm looking to do for the rest of my life. This is something I want to be able to educate down the road, not just with right now when it comes to girls. Now I'm in, like I mentioned before, I have transitioned over into perimenopause. So now I want to be able to show women in this phase of life and period. It's not just, I did this through fertility or dealing with my period. Now, this is important now. Yeah. So being able to do sound therapy meditation, educate women about their bodies, this is ongoing. It doesn't stop.
Now, something else. I want to take a complete left turn because you mentioned something that I was dying to ask you about, how you center a lot of things on joy and healing and Beyoncé. Tell me about Queen Bee. How is she connected to this work or your journey?
I am a major Beyoncé fan. I am. I cannot say that I am the president of the Beehive because I'm pretty sure they're going to come for me. I am a part of the Beehive for sure. But one of the things Beyoncé, for me, taught me, she doesn't care about anybody or anything and what they say. And the total opposite of what I was doing in my life. And one of the things my therapist told me, he was like, you're going to get to a phase of your life where you're not going to care what people think, what people say. And he was like, when you hit them 40s and Perry come in, you're not going to really care about a whole lot. And when I watched Renaissance, her movie, and she talked about that, and she did sound therapy in there as well. She did. If you go back and check it out.
Okay, I gotta go see it. Oh my God.
I was like, I totally understand what she meant by that because when you start, for me, I used to be a people pleaser. I wanted to make sure I had everyone's validation on what I was doing. But now it's like, that's not the case. I'm learning who Katashia really is in this phase. Perimenopause is disrespectful.
It is.
But she is teaching me something about me. To be able to empower, understand the power of your tongue, being able to know boundaries. And that's what I mean by Beyoncé, because if you look at her now, those are things she's learned probably later in life versus when she first started. And so, and then plus I'm a huge fan. But I totally love that I'm at a place where I can speak up when I couldn't, when I felt like my voice, I was shrinking myself. And now I try not to dim my light. I shine on every aspect.
Ooh, I number one, I'm happy for you because I feel that. I feel that. Well, you were saying people pleaser. I'm the cousin of people pleaser. I was the wannabe liked girl. So I said all the right things to people so that they would like me, but they didn't necessarily see the real me. They saw the version of me that I wanted them to see.
That was me.
And so this, in my 50s, I call myself a recovering good girl. Where now I don't care if you like me. Here I am. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be ugly. Never going to disrespect you, your spirit, or your right to do whatever. But I understand boundaries very clearly.
Now,
And I was joking with somebody else saying that, yeah, coming into midlife it really is fabulous. And menopause is just the cost of entry. Once you understand, okay, this is just the thing, okay, yeah, I got to deal with that. But the other 90% is fantastic because of that. I don't really worry what other people are thinking. I'm just wanting to do my thing.
and I believe when you just mentioned midlife. Midlife for me is about surrendering and becoming. And that's where I am right now because
Yeah.
I'm becoming, and I love my mom. I'm living my mom's life for sure. I felt like up to this point, but now I'm living the life for me.
Say that again. You were living your
My
mom's life.
Yeah. I
But
did
now,
everything. I'm living for me. And that's where I am. That's why I feel like midlife is surrendering and becoming.
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna. We will bring this to a close, but I want you to take a moment. I mean, considering midlife journey, what you're seeing with clients, all of your knowledge. What is one major actionable thing that we could all do right now that's going to be a step in the right direction with our our wellness?
Yeah.
It's just
That
all
too,
of it.
wellness.
Yeah. What do you want them to hear?
Take time for yourself. I really thought it was really cliche to say, oh, self-care is not, is not selfish. I'm like, it's not. You got to take time for yourself because when I hear you can't pour from an empty cup, I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that, right? But now in this phase, I totally understand what it
Yeah.
means. So when it comes to self-care, when it comes to your health, all that is important. I truly believe that you got to put yourself first. I don't care if I'm your kid, your husband, your mom, and I have an aging parent. I got to take care of myself first to take care of everyone else. But I also know boundaries. That's important for me to be able to say, and no is a complete sentence, and that's important. And for me, that one thing that I give to myself every day is that sound therapy, to be able to help myself relax and release. And that's one of the things in this phase, I want to be able to relax and truly release whatever is not meant for me.
Because you are still becoming.
Because I'm still becoming and surrendering.
Oh, I love it. Love it. I got so much out of this conversation. I mean, I hope anybody that is watching this right now that they take it and share it with all the women in their lives because number one, it's a lot that you said in this one conversation, but at the same time, I think the central message is that there's so much within our control.
Right.
And we got to come back and reclaim that. And listening to the way that you are coming from two different schools of thought, and I take a lot of value with that. And just all together, I think we as Black women just there's certain things we need to hear a few times before we do it and get permission to do these things. So thank you, number one, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much.
I am grateful because I'm like, girl, you gonna talk on this stuff? But all of this has been great. So for anybody that is, if you made it this far, I really do want you to go into the show notes. You will have a link to Dr. Katashia's Wellness Kollective so that they can connect with you either virtually or other resources just to learn about all the stuff that you're doing. But then the other thing that I also want you to do, if you have questions, if there's something in this conversation that maybe you still are trying to figure out, but what about this? Put it in the comments. I and Dr. Katashia, we're going to monitor the comments and hopefully be able to get you some level of understanding that takes you in the right direction. But more than anything, thank you for being here. Share this information with anybody, all the women that are in your circle, and shout out to the men that are understanding this. So your husband, I'm sending him a high five for being that guy.
He's that guy. He's been on this road with me.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Thank you for visiting for another episode. We'll see you next time.